talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. But welcome in. We got a lot to get to today. We'll talk Husker baseball coming up, NBA playoffs, Henry T. Buchanan. We'll explore a bunch of other stuff. I got to follow up one more thing because we talked yesterday, and since you mentioned food and stuff. There was so much going around between because Elijah did another pork butt, and we were going through the number of ways that you can use pork.
Yeah.
And suggestions on how he was going to eat yesterday.
Yeah. I
threw out there was things thrown out like stuffed baked potato.
That sounded incredible.
The pork on the top, little homemade cornbread.
That does sound incredible.
Come on now, right? Elijah threw out the old pork top burger. I don't think you went there.
No.
But you did do something phenomenal. You cooked something phenomenal, I know. 2, you found your new spot.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, let me say, I'm sitting back yesterday, and we had this conversation on the air. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Wait, it's Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. It only makes sense.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. I forgot about that part because LeBron ruined it for me when he says it all the time. Fair?
LeBron.
Yeah, just bothers me.
Anyway, I was like, where can I get some good, authentic corn tortillas? Not flour. I want corn.
Yeah.
Google it. I'm like, oh, there's a Mexican market half a mile from us here at the radio station. Let's go check that out after work. Go check it out. One of the best deals on
the planet.
On produce for anything that was in there I've ever seen in my life. $3.50. I got 30 taco shells. $3.50. 30 taco shells. Everything I needed for salsa, which is 5 or 6 tomatillos, a couple jalapenos, garlic, a whole onion, a big thing of cilantro.
You're $3.50. 3.50.
Yeah, and the taco shells were $1 of that. So everything else is $2.50. I got chicken bouillon to throw in that salsa. Salsa came out incredible.
I'm going to say you nailed it.
Yeah. I got a picture of the tacos for you.
Oh, let's see it. Let's go. Where for all this smoke?
It'll take a second.
Oh boy, we're going to go to that quote in a minute. Morning, Kobe. Good morning, right 8:40.
We can go to it right now.
No, here you go.
I have to be unbiased.
Yeah,
I
so
have
Nebraska,
to be. I have to be unbiased.
Last night.
Look at them.
Oh
tacos.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
If you
Look at those.
I have to
Look
be,
at those.
Those are fire.
Those are good looking
Look
tacos.
at those.
I mean, if we're gonna have a listening audience from both Creighton and Nebraska, I have to be impartial.
Yeah. So
I can't be
last night.
I can't be a homer on a professional broadcast.
So last night, Nebraska falls again.
Justice is trying to have a future in this profession.
Yeah. Nebraska falls 8-7 to the the Hoo Jays from the north, which the streak now continues at home. And we found, Elijah researched. It's been since 2017 since Nebraska has beat Creighton at home.
7 years. Did you have that for your pregame?
Yeah, was that
info?
in your notes?
Is that in your notes, Justice?
That was in the notes.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. It continues 8-7. Kobe just could argue that Justice sounded like a Creighton fan at the end of the game last night. But I get you. You got to be in the middle.
You got to.
I got to play both sides. We got listeners on both sides,
and you got to tip your cap to the team that won.
Yeah, I can't just say, oh, the umpires do it again, and I can't just be I can't just go full homer and just be like, oh, and they find another way. The old Hawk Harrelson from the White Sox. Yeah, and yet another way to blow a baseball game. I can't do that. I have to be impartial. I have to show credit to the team that came down and won, and whether it be by Nebraska's own self-induced errors or whether it be by some timely hitting by Creighton. I mean, they found a way to win it, and it looked a little dicey at the end for the old Jay Skurs, but in the end of the day, I mean, they came out and they got it done. They're one of their most trusted arms, just slammed the door.
And realistically, it's a little bit of both. Nebraska, I mean, you have a chance to go win that game, bottom of the ninth. But timely hitting from Creighton too.
Yep.
Gotta tip your cap. That's a team that cares about this series. Coach Service, he did not look like he wanted to end that series with a loss at Haymarket Park. That's his final time coaching in the Creighton Nebraska series, and that series has meant a lot to him. Yeah, you could tell. You could tell. That Creighton team, they wanted that one last night pretty bad.
Well, I don't think it was a problem with the starting pitching. I thought Will Walsh pitched a perfectly fine 2 1/3 innings, and then you turn it over to the bullpen and try to piece it together. And it just at times, guys just did not have it. Colin Novacek issues back-to-back free passes. That's the only batters he faces. I mean,
doesn't record an out
Yeah, I mean, Blockowitz kind of struggled once he got into his second inning of work. Christo struggled once he got into his second inning of work. It's like if Creighton got to see these guys multiple innings in a row, they were pretty on top of it. And that's kind of the approach that they were taking the whole game was, the Blue Jays were coming up to bat, and it was a lot of line drive stuff. They weren't trying to, try to lob one over the fence. They weren't trying to go home run hunting. They were just staying down, consistent with their approach, going inside out on pitches, taking them where they were, not trying to do too much. And in the end, they got on base, and they were incredibly disciplined and took a bunch of walks. They weren't swinging a bunch of pitches out of the zone. I mean, they were hunting for a lot of good ones to hit in the zone. And so that's where Nebraska struggled. I mean, the Christo pitch on the 0-2 is a mistake to Sherman. I mean, that's a fastball that goes right down the middle.
Mistakes you can't make.
Mistakes you can't make, and mistakes you don't expect out of a guy who's been in the program for a number of years now.
Nebraska is that team. When you look at them, and we talk like this to some of our teams at times. You're not good enough to overcome certain mistakes. You're just not that good to be able to do that. An 0-2 pitch or a base running blunder or having first and third with one out and you get 2 strikeouts. You can't drive a guy in.
There are MLB teams who aren't good enough to overcome those.
You can't do that. When you have a runner in scoring position with less than 1 out, you got to be able to connect. You can't strike out twice in games like that. It just can't happen. A few guys did continue. Gabe Swanson had 2 hits last night. Overbeek had 3. Riley Silva had a couple last night. It wasn't the fact that because you look at it, Nebraska 7 runs, 10 hits, 1 error. Creighton 8 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors.
And I never felt good about this game. Justice pulled up the stat yesterday. Creighton's record when scoring first. They pulled it up early in the game. I think it was second inning. You guys pulled that up. Creighton's record when scoring first, and they go and put across the first run in the third. Oh, and then here's 4 more runs to come with it in the fourth. That's when I went
6-0 after 3.
I'll be honest. That's whenever I flipped it over to the Pacers game.
But here's the wacky thing about those 4 runs. They scored 4 runs on 1 hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it was free passes. It was errors. It was a lot of self-induced mistakes by Nebraska.
It was the thing that bit Nebraska early in the season. That's why I went, I got a pretty good feeling of how this one's going to go.
Yeah, and I mean, they credit to Nebraska. They battled back, right? Later in the game, you were like, okay, like they could just take this one going away. And instead, Nebraska, some of the guys in the lineup buckled down. You get a Beak solo shot, followed by Gabe Swanson's solo shot off the guy who's been far and away their best reliever.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. It wasn't a completely negative effort. I think the battle that you showed kind of shows why this team has gotten better over the past month or so. The battle that you showed in the 8th and the 9th inning, at least from the hitting side of things, it showed why this team has gotten better, but it's another one.
It's another one harder to take. It's
another home loss to Creighton.
But seriously, like there was a couple key at bats in that game. I go back to Gavin Blockowitz, first batter he faces. Ben North gets a 13-pitch battle and wins it with a single back up the middle to plate 2 runs. And then you go back later on in the 8th, and Matt Sherman, the third baseman, gets down 0-2 on Drew Christo. And what happens? All he does is he's like, hey, all I need is 1. And he takes it and he shoots one the other way past the dive of Caden Brumbaugh, and he plates 2, right? There's a couple key at-bats in there that really define how this game goes. And then the play at home, Ryan Harrihill gets a comebacker to the mound, just a, tapper, and the throw goes wide, and Hogan Helixo, he gets a stab at it with the glove, but he's not able to fully squeeze it. And I think, it might have been one of those things where he was trying to catch it and quickly shift his body to get back over to first. But at that point, you just got to be solid and take the out. And there was a lot of self-induced errors that really were the undoing of this Nebraska team. Like Robbie Bolin gets a shallow pop into right, loses it in the lights, and it falls down harmlessly in the right field grass. Like that's stuff that I get that stuff, happens, but you're in college baseball. You got to find a way to track it and keep on it and, just fight through it. Like I know it's tough at times, but there are little things that happened in this game that ended up compounding, and Creighton didn't beat themselves. I mean, they just took they just watched what Nebraska was doing and said, okay, we'll just let you spin around and fall harmlessly in circles as we run around the bases. I mean, that's what they wanted to do. And it wasn't like they were stealing bases. Like they stole 10 over the weekend against Butler. They were just timely hitting, free passes, and hey, we'll just move runners along, keep the train chugging.
Just solid play. Now Nebraska will have to get off the mat and short memory because the next 6 in front of them are the big ones as they continue the pursuit to make the Big Ten tournament. When you look at that record, I mean, Michigan is not going to be easy. Headed here to town Friday night, 6 o'clock, Saturday at 2, Sunday at noon, because it is a very slim margin from where you could have a really good couple weekends, be in like 4th or 5th place, somewhere up in that neck, or you could be out. But the weekend series is where it's going to be made at for this team.
Yeah, you're going to make a ton of money on that weekend series, and especially looking at what Michigan's going to bring to town. That's a talented ball club, and now that you threw Will Walsh, was this just
interesting? That's we brought this up yesterday with that move. What the games now look like? Who's the Friday guy? Saturday, Sunday. Do you bump Ty Horn Friday? You go bullpen Saturday. Leave Jackson Brockett on a Sunday where he's been comfortable as of late. What that rotation now looks like? I don't see Will Walsh coming back. Maybe in a emergency like relief role in the weekend.
The name that is there for me, it's Timmerman. The guy that's made his return has looked solid since coming back. I mean, could you do what you do with Brockett on Sundays, which is ask Timmerman to go out there, hey, get us 3.5, 4, and we'll turn it over to the bullpen. Go set the table for us on a Friday night. I wonder if that's what it's going to be moving forward, or it could be Timmerman on a Saturday and Horn on a Friday. I just circled Timmerman as being the guy you likely insert.
Mm-hmm.
You like what you get from Drew Christo from the bullpen for the most part.
You have to hope, I think, in those games, if it's Timmerman, it's a lot like, Will Walsh has not been great as of late, okay, on Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
But what he has given you is 3+, getting the 4, getting the 5, because that's his mentality. He can get there. For Nebraska to be effective, or any baseball team for that fact, they got to get to 4, got to get to 5. So Timmerman's going to have to be able to do that if he's the guy.
Yeah. We'll see.
Stretch a game out.
And it might be one of those things where they just go, hey, we'll take a bullpen game on Sunday. Like, it might be like, hey, we might use Will Walsh as an opener on Sunday and just say, hey, can you give us 3 to 4 innings? Like, can you make that work? I know you pitch 2 1/3, but it might be a thing where they go, they shake up the rotation a bit and they say, hey, Ty Horn, you've been pitching really well. We're going to need you to go on Friday. We're going to need Brockett to go on Saturday. And then, hey, Will Walsh, I need you to open for 3 to 4 on Sunday, and let's get it to the bullpen. And please, dear God, lineup, hit. You need to get after these guys. I mean, that might just be the mentality, and just say, hey, we may let up 4, but if our lineup scores 6, we're going to win.
Could you also look at a situation where it's like, hey, Tucker and Will, you're both going to be our guys on a Friday night. We're going to go from one to the next, and we need, by your powers combined, we need you to get us to the 7th inning. Is that something you could run with? I don't know. They got some options. It's just so interesting late in the season to take your Friday night guy and move him to midweek. I don't think it's a case of like, hey, well, we're going to throw you against Creighton for this one time and then move you back into the weekend. This feels like you struggled. We're going to get you out of the Friday night spot for a couple weeks, and maybe you can rein things back in by the Big Ten tournament. But
that's a lot.
I'll be curious
to
see what they do.
When the Falcons put Michael Penix in to take over for Kirk Cousins, there was no coming back. You've been moved.
Yeah, and I think it's been tough. I mean, we go back to the start of the season when Mason McConaughey went down with that UCL injury, and that was, detrimental to what this team wanted to do with their pitching staff. They had a plan coming in. They were, hey, Mason's going to pitch on Fridays. We're going to have Ty on Saturdays. We're going to have Will Walsh on Sundays, and Jackson Brockett, you're going to shove in the midweek, and we're going to be a dominant baseball team. And that quickly went unraveled. And that's going to happen in college baseball where you lose guys. What does the depth behind you look like? And I think we're starting to see like some of these younger guys are starting to figure it out, and some veteran guys like Brockett has really found some stuff.
A lot of guys have been better. That is for sure. There's been progress on that side.
Yeah, and Elijah made a point a couple of weeks ago where he was like, he talked about Brockett, and he was like, hey, the no-hitter, it happens where, he had some of his best stuff. Great defensive plays were made behind him, and it kind of looked like a one-off. Well, that happens with a lot of no-hitters. I mean, let's be totally honest. There is a luck factor that plays into no-hitters in perfect games. Like, there is some batted ball luck that goes into that. Jackson Brockett's flashed on a lot of that similar stuff as of late. I mean, he's shown some real quality location. He's shown some good stuff with the off speed. He's inducing a lot of soft contact again. I mean, this is the Jackson Brockett we were, hoping to see carry over from last year.
And I think one of the things to note with pitchers is, hey, you can have your stuff, but one of the things that defines you as a starting pitcher is how well do you perform whenever you don't have your best stuff? Can you go out there and, despite the fact
grind it out,
can you go grind and get through 5 or get through 6 even when you don't have your best stuff? And I think Brock kind of shows that, is even when he doesn't have his best stuff, he's going to go out there and battle. And I think that role for him on Sundays, it's not, they don't need him to get deep on Sundays. They'd like to get 4 good innings out of Brockett on Sundays and turn it over to the bullpen to go close things out, assuming you have your bats going. It works out well. And I think he's able to perform whenever he doesn't have his best stuff. He's able to still get you that 4 and change type performance.
So there'll be more to come then. I'm sure Coach Bolt will give us that rotation as we get closer. A couple days away, Friday, 6 o'clock, Michigan coming to town for that last homestand in their pursuit to stay inside the cut line for the Big Ten tournament. So let's take a break. We come back. Let's go to the NBA playoffs. Something after last night happen that has never happened in the second round of a NBA playoff. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more when we return.
Aaron Gordon.
You having nightmares of him right now?
No, I just like if any like okay, if it was Jokic, if it was Jamal Murray, okay, if it was Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon takes a transition three, you got it. You got it. Those guys need a box out. Good gracious.
I've seen
Chet
make a free throw.
Yeah, Chet make a free throw. Hey, let's not foul up 3, 10 seconds left. Let's let him run it across half court and then foul.
That's what Elijah said.
It's just there's too much time on the clock. And then you're going to get in a free throw matching contest with Nikola Jokic. Sorry, man.
Coach Jokic. Get it right.
Kočić.
Nikola
Kočić.
Yeah, because he's coaching that squad right now.
Yeah,
You're being out.
Whatever. You go for 40. The guy might need to
42 and 22, whatever the number was.
He doesn't care. He might go back and just watch horses and drink beer and not care. And he's going to go drop 40 on your favorite team.
Doesn't matter.
He doesn't need to be in shape. He don't care. The only thing he cares about is winning.
Yep.
He's a winner. He's a killer. Guess what? Down the stretch, killers kill. That's what he did. And then Aaron Gordon in transition. You got it. If he's the one hitting the transition three, y'all got it. Y'all got it. You can have game one.
Can you believe Aaron Gordon this year has doubled his number of 3-pointers taken, and his 3-point percentage has raised 10 points?
Oh, gee.
Since last year.
Yeah, I've noticed, and I'm still not moved. I mean, there's a reason.
Still not moved.
There's a reason they were playing off of him about 5 feet. Let's be totally real here.
Classic. I'm still not moved.
Nuggets do shoot the fewest amount of 3-pointers in the league.
Like I was fine with the defense. I was like, oh, okay. And then there was like some foul calls where I was like, yeah, those are going to happen with Jokic. I mean, it's just going to happen. He plays physical. I don't expect every foul to not get called.
Yeah, plus he's got 40 pounds on Chet and 30 on Hartenstein. So
yeah, I mean I was like, hey,
you just got 40 pounds on Chet, honestly.
I was like, you got to limit role players. And then Aaron Gordon goes and dunks all over Chet, and I'm like, oh Lord, here we go again.
Russell Westbrook's a demon too.
That was actually a good Russ game. It was a good Russ game, other than him missing a wide open 3-pointer. But he's going to do that.
That's the Russ experience.
It is the Russ experience.
Totally.
He's going to make. He's going to miss. He's going to have some stupid turnovers. He's going to have some incredible passes. You never know what you're going to get with him.
No,
still love him.
You just know you're getting something.
My buddy was talking to me about this. He's like, so now I'm going to go to the casino, and now that the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Thunder are all down 0-1, I'm going to bet on them to win the series because there's going to be plus money. And I'm like, that might not be the worst bet you've ever made. I'm going to be totally honest.
No.
I think
it's not egregious. It's not egregious to say that.
I think the Thunder are still minus money to win that series.
They have to be.
Oh, well, we'll see after tonight. We're going to get going.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss
Welcome back in the morning hookup. Happy hump day. Your Wednesday's off to a great start. I have to ask. I know you've been gone even in LA, but a bet's a bet.
A bet is a bet. And I'm going to have to.
Is that all I need to say?
Yeah, I'm going to have to deliver on it.
All right.
And that will be I'm going to get all the necessary supplies probably tonight or tomorrow. Okay. And then I'm going to bring it in on Friday.
Okay.
And we'll live
you can consume on Friday.
Live for the
I got your back.
Live for the morning hookup. We are going to get Elijah his Mike and Ike's
payoff
and his
cherry Coke,
cherry Pepsi. He said cherry Pepsi.
Yes, I wrote down cherry Coke just so I remember. Or Coke, Pepsi, whatever you like.
Hey, I'm a man of my word. I thought the Braves were
just ready to jump in. He can't wait. Watch.
Yeah, I thought the Braves were going to be a functional baseball team in Colorado
right now. They got 2 out of 3.
Well, they weren't functioning whenever I needed them to.
I could have made a call.
Chase Dolander was very much functioning.
Yeah, he was. I'm not sure I'll be in on Friday, so that's we might have to figure that out. I got some district baseball stuff that day.
Oh well, I can always just stockpile it.
We'll figure it out. You can if you leave it in there. I'll
I just want to make sure
I want to make sure it's as fresh as possible.
Yeah. I'll be in here Friday evening to post up podcasts after the average Joe show.
Okay.
So then
I'll be on the baseball.
Old Santa Rody might just leave you a little present under the
under
the monitor.
My things that I love that we have this avenue and this platform to be able to share it with the people. That's the most humbling part of losing a bet.
Losing a bet happens.
It's just showing.
We're gonna
Yeah.
be totally honest. It's not like the steak and a beer where like there's probably a running tally of about 43 steaks right now and about 150 beers.
That is true. For example, I do owe Will Wilson a 999 challenge at the Salt
You
Dogs
know
game
what?
this summer.
Hey,
Because his T-Wolves beat my
listen,
Nuggets last
I
year.
think once you
Just you want to lay down some action on the
by the
Oklahoma
way,
City and
listen, he
Denver
departed.
series?
He departed, so that bet's gone.
No, it's still
Statute of limitations
it's
have
still
moved on.
it's still on the table. I
It is
think.
on the table.
I
You're
think
still going to live up to it.
I'm a man of my word.
Okay.
And my Nuggets lost to his T-Wolves last
Mm-hmm.
year, so I think I gotta pay up on it. It's as simple
Speaking
as
of
that.
losing,
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
I wasn't going there. Wow.
Oh,
I
loser
was-
justice.
what I was going to say.
You put him on a tee for that. I mean, you can't.
Listen,
I mean, Hooksy. It's
I
like
sit in
you're,
this chair for a reason.
you're throwing.
okay? I
You're
just go,
throwing BP right now. I mean, he
Like
took
this.
that one 450 to left.
Yeah.
I mean, that ball
Just
was
crushed.
Where
smashed.
I was going was
Elijah's up 6-0 in the bottom of the second.
Where I was
It
going.
was a 3-run blast.
Where I was going. We'll get to those games. Where I was going with was, speaking of losing, for the first time in NBA history, all the road teams won game 1 in the second round.
And how about the Pacers
How about
doing it
that?
again in game 2?
In game 2,
They came back from down 9 with 40 seconds
Yes,
left to win
5
last night. Tyrese Halliburton.
yeah,
That-
five with
that
30.
team's dangerous, man.
I think he has taken it personal from that survey,
Mm-hmm.
and you could see it.
Yeah.
He's taking it personal about being the most overrated player by his peers, and he's playing up to the bill.
Like that guy needed another chip on his shoulder, by the way.
Oh.
Like that guy needed another reason to go play basketball.
His celebration yesterday was first off awesome, but to get there, choke job from the Cavs.
Yep, fourth quarter gets you
To-
done in,
that-
by the way, 36-21.
That turnover on the inbounds, choke.
Oh,
That's
was
wor-
disgusting.
That's worse than the Thunder missing 2 free throws. Free throw
Mm.
misses happen. To turn it over on the inbound and then to let Halliburton get his own offensive rebound on the free throw.
So
brings
little
it back
things that
out.
can't happen.
And then at that point, Max Strus, you're on skates. Like, you don't have a chance
Yeah,
against
no.
Tyrese Halliburton. Step back 3, cash.
Well, Donovan Mitchell was, and they tried in a heroic effort last night, 48-5-9. They did it a little undermanned as well. in
Hooksy,
that
do
game,
we
but
have
it doesn't matter.
do we have the stat for the number of shots Donovan Mitchell took?
I got you right here. Let me just click that button for you, sir. Donovan Mitchell. Oh, it wasn't a terrible shooting night, by the way. 15 to 30. 15 to 30. He was 17 of 21 from the line last night for 48 points.
So funny thing about that, when Donovan Mitchell shoots 30 or more shots in a playoff game, the teams that he's on have a below 500 record.
that's incredible.
That's
he was
that's
one-
a known stat.
His role, his cold shooting from 3 continues in the first 2 games. He is now 1 of 18 or 2 of 18 from 3.
Whew,
Man, remember,
He could play for the Celtics.
speaking of that stat about
definitely could play for the Celtics.
30 more shots from Donovan Mitchell just takes me back to that bubble playoff series, Jamal Murray against Donovan Mitchell, Nuggets Jazz, whenever it was Jamal and Donovan trading 50-point nights. Justice might be too young to remember the
remember
bubble, but
Oh no, I remember the
Yeah,
bubble.
well,
I remember the bubble.
we were
But,
in
uh,
7th grade. when the
okay,
bubble
okay.
came.
Thought experiment here as we try to bridge between the Cavs and the Celtics. How much better would the Celtics be instead of having Jaylen Brown if they had Donovan Mitchell?
oh,
Maybe not fair.
but Jaylen Brown gives them a little bit of an edge that I'm not sure Donovan Mitchell would bring.
I think so too. I think Donovan Mitchell plays with a big old chip on his shoulder. I mean, he's a guy who, constantly is looking for. He's got a bulldog mentality, is what I call it. He's a guy who wants to compete every single day. And he's a guy who, I think when it comes down to crunch time, he's got a little bit of an attitude about him. Got a little bit of swag.
The nightcap, 99-88 Warriors in a defensive / building house type game.
Warriors did that without Steph Curry,
Without
too.
Steph Curry, he goes out, hamstring strain. Don't know the update on that yet. Buddy Hield's been playing really well right now for the Warriors. Buddy Hield had 24, Butler 20. Anthony Edwards building house last night,
That bad
9
game.
of 22, 1 of 5 from 3. They only scored 88 points in the game.
It's not good.
Not good.
Not good. Especially after you're coming off of a series where you could do whatever you want against the Lakers. It
Interesting
was-
enough, you look at that Warriors team, go back the first round series, look what they did defensively to the Rockets in that series, and now holding a pretty good offensive team in the T-Wolves to 88. Pretty solid.
Yeah, and I mean they're as Steve Kerr, it's a complicated defense. It takes a lot of time for young guys to understand the multiple coverages they want to use. But I think Draymond Green's been the linchpin of that defense, and he is really stepped up, and he's brought them an edge. And I know, like, him and Dylan Brooks have kind of gotten a little bit of, jaw jacket online, but I think to the victor goes the spoils. I think if you win, you get the right to talk a little bit.
Difference in the game, if you look at just the stats, we know that everybody likes to shoot the three ball. The Warriors 18 of 42, they make 18 threes in the game last night. Minnesota only 5 of 29.
There was one point in the first half where they were like 1 of 17 from 3-point range. Yeah, it was what can go wrong did go wrong type games for the T-Wolves last night. I don't think that's going to define that series. They're not going to shoot the three ball that poorly all series long. That being said, it's still something that the road teams went and took every single game won in the second round. We're going to have some really, really good matchups here. We were talking yesterday just about how good this NBA playoffs has been thus far. The second round is living up to the billing as well. I mean, that the finish to that Cavs-Pacers game last night, that was incredible. The statement that the Warriors went and made, it is going to be good series in this conference.
This is one of the better.
You better buckle up.
Yeah,
buddy.
you better buckle up.
Well, this is one of the better playoffs early on in a long time. I think you got to go back almost like, and not talking about complete playoffs. You got to go back maybe to the Jordan days and the Birds and all those matchups that were so good, as you're seeing so much good basketball and defense tonight.
Well, I'll just say with this playoffs right now, I look at every single team that's left, and the Thunder and the Celtics are still rightfully your favorites, but I could see any team that's remaining making it to the NBA Finals. I'm not sure I could see every single team winning, but I could see every single team that's remaining in these NBA postseasons making a run to the finals and being in that final series. I could see it, which says something about how crazy this postseason has been.
Absolutely. Boy, I can tell you, as you mentioned, those two teams tonight, you've got those one seeds are back on the line tonight. Here we go. Knicks, Celtics, Nuggets, Thunder. The line for both those games, 10.5.
Which I think is unchanged from what each line was the other night.
Just tells you how much they believe in those two teams. The Celtics, the question be, will they respond from the awful three-point shooting night, the record missing 45 threes in the game? I think Caleb mentioned it with Jason Tatum. He's got to remember he's Jason Tatum. His size can get him to the bucket at any moment that he wants. Mm-hmm. And he needs to be that floor leader to get there.
I see both of the one seeds seeds responding tonight.
Who we got online?
We got our boy Ernesto on the line.
Whoa, Ernesto!
It's been a while.
What's up, brother?
Hey, not too much, guys. You got the two prodigies with you.
Oh,
Y'all are rocking it.
Look, man, I just all I do is just throw stuff in the air and they just take and run, bro.
Hey, they're young, man. Kid radio's in my rearview mirror, and yours too. Woo! But I wanted to talk about Scott Frost in the article by Oliver Vandervoort. How he had his first press conference and he was trying to throw shade on the Huskers and stuff. Okay. But I know it to be true because I was at a Wawa's and I shared a couple of Tito's and tonics with limes with them. Yeah. And I kind of coached them and I said, hey, let's get the Benedict Arnold sandwich. That's the Trev Albert sandwich that I named about 1.5 years ago when he hit town.
Scott just needs to understand that, hey, it didn't work out. You don't have to pass the buck. You can say my heart wasn't in it. You can say, you know what? I felt pressured to come and take this job and my heart wasn't in it. And I was dealing with things in my personal life. You don't have to roll with this whole, I just didn't care.
Elijah, that would require a little something we call accountability. And I don't know that Mr. Frost has displayed an acumen for accountability during his tenure here. Let's just say that shortly.
Yeah. You guys are probably right about that, but I loved him here at UCF. He broke my heart, and I would say it's bitterness. I'm going through a divorce right now, and I could have been bitter. I could have thrown a lot of shade. I don't do it. When you're an adult, you don't do it. But hopefully he's going to grow up. We're glad to have him. Hopefully he won't, lay what on the UCF ground. So.
I know there's people around here that still have hard feelings. I'm hoping for the best for Scott Frost at UCF. It was a place where he was happy. I hope he can find some happiness, find some success again. No matter what happened with his tenure, he's still always going to be a Husker legend. So let's
listen, man, just from the human being side of things. Okay. Let's overall in life, we got to set aside our, whatever your record was and how much each win costs and all that stuff. as a human being, you want human beings to be successful. Find happiness, find hope, and go out and be able to spread and make joy out of your life.
And I hope that someday he can admit his shortcomings with the
Yeah.
Nebraska job.
Yeah.
I don't think he will.
Yeah,
but I
no
hope he
doubt
can.
about it. Hey, well, guys, God bless you guys. And hey, I got a sound effect for you because
Let's
I'm not
go.
working today. And guess what I'm doing? I'm crushing cans.
Atta baby.
Woo!
Ernesto coming in hot. I love every bit of it. That's good stuff. We were talking tonight, both games 10.5 tonight, as the number one try to get even.
Mhm.
I see it happening tonight, by the way.
The home team's got to get a win at some point, right? You would think. I think the Nuggets performance against the Thunder has more staying power than what the Knicks did against the Celtics. Like the Celtics live by the three, die by the three. They died by the three the other day, but they have lived by the three all season long.
Yeah, this isn't new to the Celtics.
No.
Right? They've set plenty of records of the number made and missed. This is not going to change who they are.
The big question mark is Kristaps. I think he's a bit of a that team is different whenever he's not on the floor. So what is his health like? Because they said illness. That was a weird situation where he goes to the locker room and really quickly they rule him out. It wasn't like
Did he deal with some mysterious illness throughout the season though?
Did he?
I think
That
there was
sounds
something that happened that they could not put their finger on throughout maybe early or mid season of the NBA.
And it wasn't like hey, we're gonna get him an IV bag of fluid and
But he's
see if
out.
things go. But yeah, just quickly goes back to the locker room. All right, quickly he's out. That was strange.
Must have been a wicked Paul Pierce situation, if you know, you know.
He just didn't need the chair.
No, so I'll-
No, he just went back and he was like, "Yeah, hey, coach, I'm gonna be here for a
Yeah,
while.
look, man.
Y'all just go on without me."
So I'll be paying attention to that because that could change the series. I still think the Celtics, they're going to continue shooting threes. I think they're going to probably knock them down at a better clip than they did in game one. I think they have more. I think there's more reason to believe that the Celtics can get back and go sweep the next 4 games. The old, I guess that wouldn't be a gentleman's sweep, but it'd be pretty close. 4-1.
4-1, they all reverse action.
The Nuggets, I think their performance against the Thunder is more staying power because I don't know what the Thunder are going to do against Nikola Jokic bully ball.
I mean, I could tell you the strategy, and no Nuggets fan's going to like it, but it's going to involve a lot of fouls to guys who aren't named Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
It's going to be, hey, if Aaron Gordon touches the ball, we can put him at the free throw line. We're good with that. Russ touches the ball, definitely put him at the free throw line. No, like I was telling my buddies the other night, they're like, "Oh, Russ is in the game. What do you want to do? Foul,
Foul.
What if Russ isn't in the game? Foul whoever's not.
Whoever's in the game for him.
Yep.
So
Peyton Watson. Yep, that's a good foul.
TNT will bring you both those games tonight, and we're going to take another break. When we come back, I've got a question for you guys about pro sports, and just a question because U.S. Open's coming up, which led me to ask this question. And Kobe mentioned there as well, Nebraska basketball put out a little cryptic tweet. Whether that means something or not, we don't know. We'll talk about that when we return. It's like that.
I looked at the tweet. It is like the Icelandic national team. That's really weird.
Right?
So it's
really
like
weird.
It could be Leo Curtis, which
Well,
like
it leads to that, right? Like,
well, because I had like kind of been reading the tea leaves, and something with the Perez travel situation was falling through. It's like he wasn't going to be able to come over. So I think like Fred quickly pivoted to a guy who was also on the
Washington
board.
spoke with us yesterday about that being more that or this a handler type situation where going where the money is. Because Washington one time, I think he did. He said they had reached out to their people and he really didn't know where he was visiting. He was being told where his visits were going to be.
They didn't like that. Snuffed it out. Thought it was a little sus.
So,
yeah.
There you go.
I liked Michael Perez though. He was
Well, he's a bucket getter.
He's young though too. So
that's Curtis is young too. That's
Yeah.
the nice part. He's 18 and at 7'1". I mean, there's ample room to grow and fill out that frame. So I mean, that's an intriguing guy to bring to town. And if you can sit here and develop him, you hope it's not like an Oleg Koyenet situation where like he didn't have a ton of basketball under his belt. I mean, it looks like Curtis is fairly developed in his basketball skill.
they're both it's the best way to put this, unique in their size to athleticism.
Yep.
But they both, I think, need a little bit of refinement. I don't know how much either of them was really going to affect what you did in 2025. They both kind of feel like stash them for a year type guys. Is that just me? Like
I
guys
feel like
that you can get some limited minutes from in year
feel
one,
like
but you
there's
need some development.
there's a couple guys like that on the roster. Like I feel like you bring in Will Cooper because you want development. You want to develop him into like a real wing sniper. I mean, I think that's what the role. Because if Will Cooper's playing like real minutes in year one, you're in trouble.
Well, does Will Cooper not have shades a little bit of what Janowski was last year?
Yeah, but I think he's already like more. He's got a better built body because he was A, in the Air Force Academy, and B, already a collegiate athlete for a year. And so it's like, okay, he's bigger. He brings you some of that shooting. I just think like you kind of stats him for a year and you hope he plays a role as a junior. I think that's kind of what you want out of him, because I think like this team could like surprise a lot of people next year with what they want to do. But I think either Perez or Curtis was probably going to be a guy that you just kind of sat in a red shirt and said, hey, we're going to develop you and please stick around because we've got great plans for you.
Kobe, thanks for reminding us that too. Washington did say that Perez's handlers essentially, Fred, they weren't willing to give up the guaranteed role minutes,
because whose
of,
minutes was he going to take? I mean, seriously, like whose role was he going to get? Because like Price Sanford's locked in at the 3.
Yep.
I mean, he's not beating out Jared Garcia for a backup 4 role. Like Garcia is a grown man. Like we can call it what it is. He's a grown man with lots of college basketball under his belt, and that's a valuable asset to have.
And that's why I think Perez was a stash him for a year type.
Yep. Welcome back in the morning. Hookup, Phillips, Justice, Elijah, hanging out on a hump day. As we went to break, we mentioned it. We talked about it a little bit in the stream. Nebraska basketball, a little, we'll call it cryptic. Could be leading to something. And we've talked a lot yesterday to Robin Wash about Leo Curtis, where he's from, what he might bring to the table. It looks like there's the Iceland national team, national team being tweeted there out. Maybe it's feels like the conclave a little bit. Maybe we just saw the smoke that might be coming with Leo Curtis.
The conclave started today. Is that right?
Today.
Do you guys know? I was looking this up last night.
I knew they have something fact about this.
Do you guys know what the longest papal conclave in history is? How long it was and when it was?
The average is only like 3 to 5 days, roughly.
Yeah, the longest one in the 20th century, I think, was 3 weeks.
Yeah, usually it's pretty.
Back in 1939, which there's good reason for that to be a long conclave. There's a lot going on.
They're predicting this could be a long one,
based
on the fact of when Pope Francis was there, all the new cardinals and diversity of the cardinalship. Can we call it that? That could be a little longer, but I don't know the longest. Let's say 2 months.
Go back to 1268, a 3-year conclave.
A 3-year.
There was a whole bunch of political infighting within the Cardinals that year, and it reached the point 2 years in where they started only giving all the Cardinals bread and water, and then they removed the roof from where they were all meeting in hopes of making it go quicker, being like, hey, you guys get bread, water, and also you don't get a roof. So if it rains, good luck. It still went another year.
I know you're a history guy. I'm about to say something incredibly insensitive. 3 years in their time is about like 3 days in our time. When you look back at history, it's like, oh, this took on for 30 years. I'm like, that's like if I were to sit here for a month. Like that's like what it feels
kind of
like.
Yes, kind of no.
That's like kind of what it feels like.
I feel like that was a situation like being in jury duty where you got the retired person in there that just they just love being there. They like the $15 a day. That's what happened. They love bringing their lunch to the jury room and hanging out and talking and being like, nah, I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, there was just like 2 factions. There was 2 factions going at it back in 1268, and neither wanted to budge. So there's like, I guess we're just going to sit here until somebody decides to budge, and nobody budged for 3 years.
What a foreshadowing that is for our current political climate, huh? Anyway, let's get away from politics. Let's get back to basketball.
Hey, well, conclave, not political.
Not political, no.
Divinely inspired. Thank you very much.
They'd like to say it's not political.
Did you watch the movie Conclave?
No, not
There's
yet.
got to be smoke. There's got to be smoke brewing now. Robin Wash
the movie Conclave's good.
Robin Wash now tweeting out the old image of Fred on the phone that makes its round. So
pick up the phone, baby.
Yeah, so it must be imminent at some point in the next few minutes that this is about to happen. That will round out that roster.
10 a.m. announcement, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
could make sense.
Do it while we're on the air.
That'd be nice. That's what I'm saying. Give 13 minutes.
Give me some breaking news.
Give me text Fred. Fred, can we just get this down, bro?
Well, it'd be great to talk about with our good friend Henry T.
All right. Well, I'm sure I'll get that done. I want to ask you guys this question, and it's an overall big picture sports question because we all like to watch sports and watch the pros get up and down. And the U.S. Open is coming up in golf.
Oh, you see some of those conditions.
So that's where I'm going.
Oh,
That's where I'm going.
5
As
inch
an average
roughs.
sports fan, 5 inches of rough. Okay.
It's a lot.
I debate this because the U.S. Open is always the one that's debatable, the toughest for me to watch as a sports fan because they make it. There are times where the pros have said they've made it too tough for us to be able to score. Now, U.S. Open traditionally is the tournament where they don't want you to be 22 under par. What Scotty Scheffler just did or Pickett ain't going to happen at a U.S. Open. Now, in recent history, U.S. Opens have not been as hard. I debated this with my kid last night. Are we ones in the world as average sport or pro sports watchers, average sports athletes? Do you love to watch the pro person struggle?
Yes, and
like
no.
at a U.S. Open, you're like, oh my gosh, like they're in the rough and they just chunk it to about like he's trying to hit this shot 4 feet, and you're like, well, that's me on an average day at Wilderness Ridge. Okay,
I think it's pretty funny.
I'll say yes and no.
Or are you the one that's like, man, I want to see home runs after home run. I want to see 12, 13. I want to see records broke.
I want to see a couple people that have it overcome. I don't want to see everybody shoot over par, but you know what? If the winning score is 3 under and you have 3 guys that are under even par on the weekend, I am very happy with it. If everyone is over even par, you've made it too tough. I like seeing those
parity.
Yes.
I want parity.
I like seeing a few guys overcome, though, and you get to have everyone else has struggled. Look how impressive these pros are that have overcome these conditions and have still managed to shoot under par. That's what I want to see.
It just brought that debate up to me because I don't struggle to watch US Open. I will watch it when I can. We have baseball and it's Father's Day weekend and all that great stuff that comes with it. But sometimes you just go, oh, man.
I like tuning in for
hard.
the US Open on Sunday.
Yes.
It's not a watch all weekend tournament for me. The conditions are so tough that there's going to be some risers and there's going to be a lot of fallers. I'll tune in on Sunday and I'll watch those guys that have now had success through 3 days of the tournament battle it out.
It's just that debatable question where it's like you have baseball games maybe in Colorado that's snowing in blizzard conditions and we're playing. It's like, why?
Well, it's like that. I want parity. Like I don't want to see every game end up like a 20-1 ball game. Like I want walk-offs. I want pitching duels. I want exciting
That's debatable.
games.
Pitching duels are debatable these days.
Why? I don't know why pitching duels are debatable. I think people should.
I would
enjoy
think
them.
the average baseball consumer on TV would not want a pitching duel.
I want a pitching duel. My Cardinals won a pitching duel yesterday. I was totally cool with it.
But you are. But I think the average person will like, give me some runs.
Yeah, and I get that. And MLB's trying to cater.
It's like
to
the
that.
NFL or a college game. You know.
But I think if you're watching for only one outcome, then why watch it all?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my thing. I think if you're truly going to be a fan of the sport, you should be excited for all of the possible variables and you should enjoy what comes instead of saying, hey, I'm only going to watch this as if this is a slugfest. Like, okay, you want a lot of runs. There's also an art to a pitcher going out and giving you seven innings of one and run ball and just saying, hey, this lineup that you guys love so much is not going to get a hit. They're not going to do anything.
Also the guy that also would like the next person in the major league to hit a home run and just drop their bat and run.
Mm-hmm. Just hey, pull Pete Rose and let's see how fast he can sprint around the bases. Like they're the type of people who want to bring back the bunt. We want the bunts. And
how do we go from golf to baseball purist talk over here?
Just what it is, because I'm a golf purist. Like again, it's like the U.S. Open, and now the U.S. Open this year at 5 inch rough is going to put in play driving the golf ball well. Number 1, 2, in the rough, it brings the strongest of strongest dudes in play. A Bryson DeChambeau, a Roy McIlroy. Right? Those are the dudes that can navigate a golf course in 5 inches of rough. It will eliminate some guys. If you can't drive the golf ball well this week, now which every one of those golfers are going to face that adversity at some point in 4 days, if they're lucky enough to make the cut. To me, that golf course only allows certain people this week to win it.
Yeah, they're certainly going to live up to a power potential threshold. I mean, you can't have, a guy coming out there and, trying to, finesse his way out of a rough. It's 5 inches of rough. That's thick grass, man.
Well, those balls are just disappearing. Who has the hardest job in the golf course this week?
The people trying to find them.
Spotters.
Yeah.
I mean, point blank, it's the spotters. There's no doubt.
No, there's no doubt. And I mean, it's like, you know, when you talk about wanting parity, it's like this is going to bring you parity. Hey, the strongest guys are going to survive, but there might be guys who, you know, some savvy veterans who come out and say, "Oh, I understand how to hit out of 5 inches of rough. I don't have to be the strongest guy ever because there's a certain way I can approach this so I can get it out with, you know, the perfect loft and the perfect approach angle just fine."
Odds wise this week, if you're looking at it, if you're going to play, the odds on favorite by a long shot is your Masters champion, Rory McIlroy, coming off the board about plus 460 in that range. Everybody else is bunched up. You got Colin Morikawa, number 2, plus 1,200. Justin Thomas, Andrew Schauffele. Ironically enough, where do you see, and I cannot find him. Why is he not on the board? Scotty Scheffler not on the board. See his name. That's got to be a mistake.
That'd be a mistake.
His odds are too good.
I don't know. Like
They're so good they can't list them.
Yeah, something ain't right. But Roy McIlroy's in the top. I think it's one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly on that
Yep.
previous point that we were talking about with like the whole baseball thing. Where are you guys on bunting?
Oh boy, don't get me there, baby. I love it. I'm all about small ball.
Two things can be true. One, you're giving the other team an out, and I do believe in the money ball adage of why would you want to give the other team an out. On the other hand, there is a time and a place and a situation in baseball for bunting.
Mm-hmm.
The teams that get a guy on first base with no outs and always bunt them to second, I go, I don't know about that. Hey, bottom half of the 8th inning, you're down by a run. You got a guy at first base with no outs. It's a little different.
I'm an advocate for, hey, if we get a guy on first, I want to have a speed threat. Like I want to try to steal second. I want to be aggressive in stealing bases, and then I think you bunt them over. Does it give you less pitches to work with because like potentially the pitcher throws a strike on the throw down, like on like when the guy tries to steal second? Yeah, but I'm of the adage like, hey, you should have a good enough situational bunting team that they can get one down in one pitch.
And I am 100% a fan. No outs, runner on second, bunt to third.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I grew up
that's
in
like my thing.
I grew up in the world. It was get him on, get him over, get him in.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You know what's much easier with one out, hitting a sack fly than hitting a single.
No, that's what
Yep.
that's what I'm saying. I'm
Or
like, you don't have to try
the
to
runner
piece
on
one.
third and one out, get the ball to the right side on the ground somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Duh.
I mean, like,
Something
there's
Nebraska
so-
has been struggling with.
So many ways for a guy to go do a job and get someone in from third with one out, as opposed to getting a guy in from second with no outs.
Well, thanks for entertaining that conversation. That was one that popped up in my house, my 14-year-old last night that hit the brain a little bit.
Well, I just hope winning score at the U.S. Open, I'm hoping is a 4 under par. That would be fun.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break. A little extended one here. Go refill the coffee. Or, you know, if you're Ernesto, keep crushing cans, my friend. We'll be back here shortly. And Henry T. Buchanan coming up in the second hour.
With Dr. Ole Olson, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage in the arms, hands, legs, or feet.
What are the symptoms?
Symptoms can be numbness, burning, tingling, pain, or even loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we see amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands, or balance issues, call Asuta Health today for a nerve damage screening. This screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Simply call 402-745-3115. Act now. Call 402-745-3115 for your free nerve damage screening. Be among the first 10 callers and get this important screening for free. 402-745-3115.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
Slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagal, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
You've got your very own handyman to help remodel your home.
My knees and back feel so much better. I got the new 19-inch toilet from Handyman. It's the tallest toilet you can buy in the market. I'm an empty nester. It made sense when I was remodeling my bathrooms to install higher toilets. I'm tall, and having a 19-inch toilet makes it easier on my knees. I'm Mandy. I love my new bathrooms. They're all completed with new onyx countertops and sinks and 19-inch toilets. I even told Steve he couldn't use the remodeled master bathroom because I didn't want him to mess it up. It's so pretty.
People are amazed when they walk in and see all the American-made vanity tops we have on display. Choose from 60-plus colors and several bowl sizes to create your perfect fit.
All toilets and American-made custom vanity tops are on sale this month at Handyman.
For the very best in bathrooms, come to Handyman under the arch on Sun Valley Boulevard, Lincoln.
Handyman.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames. Because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster. Which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame. And if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Today, we remember Gary, the grasshopper, a hopper, a leaper, a bug with dreams. Sadly, his final leap landed him on the hood of a silver Toyota Sienna. His memory remains etched in dust, guts, and regret. There's only one place to honor Gary, Jet Splash Car Wash. For just $25 a month, you can lay Gary to rest, along with every Gary still to come, so your car can shine again, and hope can hop eternal. Visit jetsplash.com and rest easy, Gary. You flew too close to
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Papal Conclave beginning. Cardinals from around the world have walked into the Sistine Chapel. They will soon officially begin the process of selecting the next pope. The doors are about to be locked. Before entering New York, Cardinal Timothy Dolan told reporters,
"It's Wednesday, and this is the day we enter the conclave, and I'm about ready to go into the Domus Sancta Marta. So this could be the last time I talk to you."
He says that next time he'll talk with anyone outside the Sistine Chapel will be after white smoke is seen coming from the chimney and a new pope has been elected. Fear of a full-blown war between two nuclear-armed nations. India firing missiles into Pakistani territory overnight, killing dozens.
The Indians were very clear that they were not looking to escalate, but the Indians say that they were attacking those terrorist sites that were the source of the terrorist attack that killed dozens of Indian tourists in Kashmir 2 weeks ago.
Former State Department official and ABC News contributor Steve Ganyard, leaders from around the world are urging restraint. The U.S. Navy losing another F-18 fighter jet to the Red Sea, the second in 8 days. The $70 million plane plunging into the sea after attempting to land on the USS Harry Truman. A jury is expected to be seated today in Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering trial. ABC's Aaron Katersky has been in the courtroom.
Sean Combs has clearly been enthralled by the process. Admittedly, he said he was a little nervous when jury selection began, but he's been eyeing those potential jurors, the ones who will decide whether he's guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking charges that could put him away for decades. He exchanged a smile with a woman who was asked whether she knew any of the celebrities that might come up at trial, and she answered, "Well, I wish I did."
The Federal Reserve is wrapping up its two-day meeting today. It's expected to keep interest rates steady. The Dow's up 131 points. You're listening to ABC News.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin capted pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
The latest in a fall and an old grain elevator. Good morning. I'm Jeff Mode. 65 degrees at KFOR. So far, what we know is that an 18-year-old girl fell several feet inside a decommissioned grain elevator just west of downtown Lincoln Tuesday night. This happened in the South Haymarket area around 6th and J Street. KFOR News talked to Lincoln Police Lieutenant Jason Goodwin, who said no official condition has been released by the hospital. Goodwin said there are no other details yet in the investigation, which is still ongoing. 3 incumbents on the Lincoln City Council retained their at-large spots in Tuesday's general election. Sandra Washington, Tom Beckius, Benny Shope came in first, second, third, respectively. Former mayoral candidate Stan Parker finished fourth, and former city council member Jerry Shoecraft came in fifth, and Lincoln businessman Orang Zeb was sixth. The ballot item that dealt with fair housing in Lincoln, which the proposal would reverse a landlord's ability to discriminate against tenants based on a source of income, was approved with just over 25,000 for it, 13,000 against it. Full results from the election are up at KFORnow.com. A controlled burn is happening right now on about 20 acres of land at Wilderness Park in the area of 14th Street in the Trailhead parking lot between Yankee Hill Road and Rokeby Road. The burn project had originally been scheduled for April but was canceled. You have until 5 p.m. May 15th to review the ball field assessment report on Lincoln Parks and Recreation's website and complete a short online survey. It offers a detailed evaluation of Lincoln's 37 city baseball and softball fields, including surrounding amenities and the condition of each field. Speaking on Lincoln's Morning News on KFOR Tuesday, Lincoln Parks Rec Director Maggie Stuckey-Ross said these ball fields are multi-use fields.
We're using them all the time for baseball and softball, but we also have kickball being played on these fields. We use our ball fields for our flag football leagues.
The report and survey are available at lincoln.ne.gov/ballfield survey. Partly sunny today, a slight chance of showers and a high of 75. Right now, 65 degrees in Lincoln. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
Is your air conditioner ready for the hot weather ahead? Get it checked now before you really need it. Call Bryant now to schedule your spring air conditioning service check. No matter what brand equipment you have, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean, inspect, and test to make sure it's ready to cool efficiently when hot weather hits. Stay cool and comfortable with air conditioning services from Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111 to schedule your AC check. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry. Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry. Terry. Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
Welcome back in the Morning Hookup, hour number 2. 2 minutes away from the legend, Henry T. Buchanan. We're all still refreshing and seeing when an announcement might come across from Nebraska basketball.
Nothing yet.
Anticipation is building.
Tweet it within the hour, please,
Yeah.
admins.
Yes.
Give us breaking news. Por favor.
Yeah.
We'll just have Henry T. go ask Fred Hoiberg.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can you make a
Fred.
public comment? He's not going to live that one down.
Hey, Fred. We got this kid out in Colorado. What do you know about him?
We got this kid out in Iceland. What do you know about him?
Like, just right at him.
Yeah, let's just get T to give Fred. Hey, Fred. Leo. We got Leo. What do we know? Oh yeah, guys. Just wanted to say thank you again for having me on the show. Listen, he's a big guy, incredibly athletic, versatile, will fit in our system incredibly well. I think this is a guy that we can really develop and make into a great basketball player. All right, thanks for your time, Fred.
You got an all right Fred Hoiberg. Needs a little bit of work. A little bit of work, but it's good.
It's getting better.
You got the I'm not sure you have the voice down, but you do have the pattern of speaking down pretty well.
Well,
Yeah,
I got to
pretty
get
good.
it's pretty monotone.
It's like, oh man, wake up.
Oh man, wake up. Yeah, Elijah's got the monster. He's trying to wake up.
He is.
I got a big baseball day today.
What
we got to get into some of the umpire
What
calls.
games? You're not tell us where you're at because we all know.
I'm not at liberty to say.
I know you're not. But you know what game you have, what time you're doing it.
But we may or may not leak your address if it's
No, we won't. We would never do that.
Well, you get postseason assignments, and with postseason assignments, they're to be confidential until after the game has been played.
Oh, really? Yeah. Look at this guy. He's letter of the law.
Got to be a pro. Got it. So I got some district baseball coming up on Friday. Got local city championship coming up today. Looking forward to all that.
Nice. Are you going to do any youth stuff this weekend?
They want me to. They want me to. I'm going to be pretty busy. Lincoln Salt Dogs have their opening weekend this weekend, and we have a couple new producers in the boat. So I'm going to be doing a lot of training this weekend. Making sure the new producers are ready to go for the season.
I was told by a source. I was told by a source close to the situation that you offered a certain someone $50 and a 6-rack to come board up a game. Can you confirm that?
This is true.
Okay, you can confirm those reports.
Yeah. Well, our good friend Bobby Hessling, who's was a producer last summer for the Salt Dogs. He's off to a new opportunity this summer, but he doesn't begin just yet. With new producers coming in on Friday night. I'm doing district baseball, obviously. Our good friend Ryan Swanigan as well, who produces Salt Dogs baseball in the summertime here. He's calling district baseball on LincolnPrepSports.com. Meaning the only people we have left that are available are untrained. So we had to go to the well and get Bobby back for one time only.
So a funny story about that. He told us that, and then he immediately hopped on the phone when he found out Bush Apple was coming to Lincoln. He called everybody he knew, and he said he found somebody who like posted on their story or something. He went, "Where's the Bush Apple?" I have a whole video of this. I'm going to show you this eventually, but it's a whole video, and he's like, "Where's the Bush Apple?" Yep, I want every location.
Does
Super
Bush,
Saver? I got a guy.
Does Bush
Yes,
Apple
it's
not
that
come
guy.
other places? I feel like
No, he was like trying to. So eventually, like
I did see he got
he and one of my
somehow.
he got like 10 cases.
He stocked up.
He got 10 cases of Bush Apple because he was that
Really?
excited. Which like
I'm
responsible purchase. I don't know. Fun purchase certainly.
I guess that'll last you all summer long. I'm waiting for Bush Light Lime.
For Bobby, that might last 3 weeks.
Tossed a stray at him.
He's gonna decimate that Bush Apple. I'll tell you what.
I'm waiting for Bush Light Lime. Have you seen the rumors? Apparently, just before the 4th of July, Bush Light is releasing for the first time ever Bush Light Lime. This was leaked from an internal meeting, giving their schedule for the year. And apparently, Bush Light Lime, new flavor, is coming just before the 4th of July.
Again, going back to the purest of what I do, I'm not a flavored alcoholic beverage person.
I'm not either. A couple of Bush Light apples, on a warm day when you're outside do hit the spot. And I'd say the same about a Bud Light Lime on a warm day, kind of hits the spot. Do I want 10 cases? Absolutely not.
But listen, you give me a couple, we get a nacho spread going on the 4th of July, and then we get the burgers and the hot dogs. I'll tell you, we could have a little south of the border flavor, if you know what I'm saying. We could add a little element. We could add a little element of liberation to our 4th of July celebration. You know what I'm saying?
If Bush Light Lime ends up coming out for the 4th of July, as is rumored, apparently has been leaked. Ooh boy.
Elijah's gonna make sure
Kobe's with you, by the way. He said if it's he's with Elijah. If it's true, it's going to be electric.
Yeah. And they've had was it Bush Light Peach came out and that was gross. Bush Light Apple is fine. Again, I'll have a couple, but I don't crave it by any means.
See, I feel like the
Bush Light Lime.
I feel like the flavored like Jim Beam or the Crown is better than like a flavored beer. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. See,
now we're off. No,
people always ask me that when I'm like, I'm a Crown and Water guy. It's like, what kind of Crown?
Regular
the only
Crown?
one. The only one.
Okay.
Because I'm just not there.
Crown vanilla with a Diet Coke, though. That's the only flavored Crown. Drink it.
Yeah.
I couldn't drink it with the water. Gross.
No.
But with the Coke, that's a little flavor.
Not in.
You're not in. You're
No.
not bought in.
Traditionalist.
I'm also, for the most part, not a flavored whiskey guy.
No.
No, when it comes to whiskey, I'm a straight shooter.
That's
It's
it.
got to be.
We're old school guys here.
Any of it. Vodka, water, maybe a little splash of cranberry.
Maybe a splash of cranberry. Just
Maybe.
Maybe if you're feeling a little dicey, a little risky.
Other than that, that's all there is to it.
You know, is it one of those where like sun gets thrown out at home to end the game? You're like, oh, I need a little flavor. Splash of cranberry.
Out in the outfield.
I cannot comment at this point.
What was that? What was
I'm
that?
a coach.
Yeah, Hooksy's in the dugout. That makes
I'm
it
in the
worse.
dugout.
What was? Yeah. What? So
Honey, get my shooters.
what's the conversation?
Why is he down the right field line?
Yeah. What's the conversation with the 14-year-old about the bunting? Does he not want to lay down a bunt? Is he not? Is
All
he
of
not
them
in
do.
on that?
They all at this club that we got. We're very blessed to have the 11 that we have. They'll do whatever you ask them.
Nice,
without a question. Now, do I believe a couple of them, maybe 3 tops? If you gave them the bunt sign, they might foul it off on purpose. Yes.
There's a couple guys also that you see it out in high school ball where you could tell like they don't want to bunt, and strike 1, they pull the bat back right down the middle.
Yeah.
Strike 2, right down the middle. Sorry, coach, I can't bunt anymore. It's 0-2.
It's kind of funny because it's a dead giveaway. Like if you honestly watch other teams, when I'm out there, whether I'm calling pitches or just surveying the game, I watch it differently. Just like you probably watch basketball differently, or you watch football differently than just following the ball. You watch a kid get a sign, you can tell whether he likes it or not.
Yeah,
by his ugh.
Because
they're making me bunt.
There's some kids who really get after it, and then there's some guys who are like, I'd rather see that hit and run sign,
That's
coach.
right.
And that's when their eyes get big.
Yeah.
They're like, oh. Yeah.
Or a runner on first when they like lock in, you can tell they're about to jump and go. Right? Or the hitters moved up in the box. All right, big boy, I got it. I got you a fastball coming.
Up and in. No, we're not giving you a fastball down the middle, low and away. No, up and in.
I'm coming.
We're going up, right up in that swing path.
First, I like whenever a guy scored a bunt. We've mentioned this before, and the guy pitches in with the fastball. Love that. But what do you guys make? Justice mentioned the old hit and run. Whenever you get that pitch that's way out of the zone on a hit and run, do you want your players to swing anyway? Because I've seen some of the most ridiculous swings in my life on hit and runs where it's like that thing was at your eyeballs and you're swinging at it just because it's hit and run.
It just depends on if it's catchable or not. Like there is an art to that situation of a distraction to the catcher in that situation. Now, if it's in the dirt and it's way over there, no, don't waste it. But there is something to be said. Now, don't throw the bat.
I'm not putting a Javi Baez swing on one of those bad boys outside the zone. Like if it's like our rule was, hey, if it's 6 inches off the plate or in, you got to go after it. Like like a hit and run situation, zone expands. You got to go get it. If you know it's way out, don't go get it. And then if the ump calls a strike on the ball way outside the zone, I'm just going to lose my top at it.
Umpires don't do that.
No, never have.
They don't call them outside the zone. They're perfect.
They're perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Angel Hernandez never made a mistake.
Never made a mistake in his life. You asked him, no. Big time Teddy on the basketball court. Never. They're good.
They don't make mistakes.
I love the fact that we're talking about this and
everybody. It's pretty simple. If I call it as a strike,
it's a strike.
It was in the zone.
It was in the zone.
Yeah.
If I called you out stealing, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I call it a strike, it's my zone. And guess what? My zone's the zone today.
Yeah,
it's what
doesn't matter. My zone could be as big as the Pacific Ocean. Guess what? That's the zone. You better get ready to swing the bat, buddy.
Our
Buckle up.
fantastic
It's
listeners.
15-0.
It's
Get
15,
the bat off your shoulder.
it's 15 to, dude, if it's 15-0, it's gonna look like a moving box in that zone.
Look, we had some of that going on last night. Whereas like the zone, we were up a bunch and the zone didn't change. I'm like, man, open this bad boy up, bro.
That's the thing. The players will.
The
players.
I'm not to say ridiculous enough, but we tell our kids, hey, if you're up 8, 10, 12, whatever, there's a chance that it gets a little bigger. Not crazy, but there's a chance that maybe it's here.
Well, in a game like that, the zone opens up, kid strikes out. There's one person in the entire ballpark who's mad about that zone. And it's the kid who just struck out. Everyone else is like,
get it.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Get it over with.
It's like
I'm trying to hit Taco Bell. I'm trying to get to the cantina.
Last night, the gentleman we had the gentleman we had behind the plate was really good. Like, I mean, we thoroughly enjoyed him behind the plate, but it was like as it was getting further and further. What?
Did you ever like have the conversation with him? Like,
no,
hey,
that's their job. Nope.
Do not talk about that.
Nope. We don't do it.
No. Justice.
I know my role.
As a coach, Hooksy, you are correct. That is that umpire zone for the duration of the game.
Yeah.
Because
by the way, it can only get worse if you judge it.
Because I've seen people.
They own the power.
I've seen people do it where they're like, "Hey, can we open this bad boy up?" And the ump looks at them like they're the biggest idiot they've ever seen.
There's one person I will entertain that conversation with, and that is my catcher.
Yep.
If I'm behind the plate and the catcher talks to me, I'll just say, "Hey, you want it? Okay, just know the other team's going to get it too."
Yep.
I will talk with my catcher about the zone. I will talk with nobody else because there's one person on the field that actually has a good sense of what that plate looks like and what that zone is, and it's the catcher. That's the one person I'll have a conversation with. Not to say I'll listen 100% of the time. But
I mean, hitters like to think they know what the zone is.
yeah, no, they don't. I have seen
They
some
don't.
kids be
They
ticked off about a strike 3 call to right down the middle.
They can umpires can be. They can come at you a little bit. Last night there was a play at second stealing. It was our kid made the tag. It was debatable. Called him out. The other team kind of got into it a little bit with him. Next time, they got to run on first. We had to run on first. Tag came in. Umpire just looked at the other coach. Jolly goes, safe.
He death stared him.
And he looked back. I'm like, see, that's what happens.
Just give him one of those looks where he was like,
that's what happens.
Yep, he's in there.
That's what happens.
I'll also note we have a shortage of umpires around here, so treat them well. Hey, I'm not opposed. I understand we've spent way too much time talking umpiring baseball here. We gotta get to Henry T.
Okay.
I'll get him that link sent. But
perfect.
There is already a shortage of umpires. I understand whenever I show up to the field, the 3 things people want to do when they go to a baseball game is drink a beer, eat a hot dog, and yell at the umpires. I get it. That being said,
I like to yell at underperforming millionaires too. Listen, I am an equal opportunity heckler. I am an equal opportunity heckler. Let me tell you what, if I see Mr. Overrated in right field getting paid $100 million to bat 125, you best believe I'm going to be yelling at him to add a couple extra zeros to my bank account instead of his. But
no, so I will say though, there's an expectation of people are going to chirp you as an umpire. You also have to understand, as a fan or as a coach or as a player, the umpires that are out there at the youth and high school level are taking time away from their family. They're taking time out of they're taking free time away to come out and umpire baseball games. Just know there's a line there. There's a line between.
Don't make it personal.
Hey, I want people to keep me accountable. I don't want it to feel like the game doesn't matter. Yeah, sure. Chirp me a little bit. Make sure I know how important this is, but also know there's a line there of I'm taking time away from
what
work, my family, my friends, my free time to come out here and umpire baseball. So
I've never been opposed to throwing people out of games. I'll just say that.
A few comments we're getting here. Buchanan, our drinking conversation jumped up with Todd Blackberry, Crown, and Lemonade. Brandon 40, resident blue yummy guy here. Don't put any apple or lime in mine. Kobe, vodka, water, and a lime wedge. My grandpa's drink of choice.
Classic.
Got a lot of friends. They're into tequila water with a lime wedge. It's fine.
Tequila, not my friend, going way back. So
might need to reconsider the conversation about them continuing to be your friends.
It's low calorie, prevents hangovers. Tequila water with a lime wedge. It's not as bad as you might think. I'm more of a double lime wedge guy in there than a single lime wedge, but it's doable.
You got double barrel action in the bullpen.
Before we go, Ryan and 40 said thanks for the PSA. He's a softball alum, so he gets it. So all right, let's take a break. When we come back. It's that time. Husker legend Henry T. Buchanan. Timing.
One thing we haven't discussed. You guys see Steelers looking like they're trading George Pickens to the Cowboys?
What up, Tate?
What up, fellas? So y'all triple teaming me now?
We got you. That's what it takes, isn't it?
Got to keep you in check.
I don't know about
You're not getting open.
Hey, I feel intimidated.
You're not getting open to you. I'm telling you that much. This group is triple teaming. There's the ball ain't coming your way.
I'll just shoot it deeper, man. Y'all get lazy on me, and I'll just shoot it deeper.
We were hoping that we'd have some kind of announcement, but
I know it. That's too bad, isn't it? I talked to him last night, and he was good with it though.
Oh yeah, shoot, yeah.
No, and I told him he gave it a gallant effort. He wasn't lacking his campaigning and getting out in the public, meeting folks, and I think he truly wanted to make a difference. It was
a strong day for the incumbents yesterday. A lot of incumbents.
Yep.
Yeah, it was all incumbents, wasn't it?
Yep. They if you were in the election yesterday as an incumbent, congrats, you won. Which is, I don't know. I think might be people saying they're happy with what Lincoln is, or maybe it's just a lazinesess thing. I'm not quite sure. A lot of incumbents. That was the theme.
Well, the only thing that I think about when you think about city council or anything from a political standpoint is, and anything you do in life, change is good sometimes. We get too complacent in the way things are, and you get in that comfort zone and you settle. But change, I mean, I don't care if it's technology, heck, getting a new car, a new house. I mean, it's, let go of the old, bring in the new. And sometimes you get a different outlook and things that sort. Because, I'm in Lincoln, like I said, it's my second home. And seems like when I come back there, it's almost chaotic. It's growing, but I just don't think everything else is growing with Lincoln, as far as things to do. And, we could talk about the streets and things that sort, but it just, thank God for college football Saturdays, and
well, some would say
all
maybe
that.
not.
Yeah, it's just, we need to liven it up a little bit. And like I said, I don't know anything about the incumbents and things of that sort, but I've been part of Lincoln since 1986, and it's just not the same. I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully during our show as well. There's been some. Oh, we're coming back. Great. All right. Welcome back in the morning hookup. Happy hump day. Thanks for hanging out with us, bringing our guy, Husker legend, Henry T. Buchanan. T, what's up?
What's up, Elijah and Justice? Hey, I'm feeling intimidated right here. It's 3 against 1, and I'm sitting here shaking in my boots, but I'm ready to go. Hey, but
different defense.
But I got 2 things I got to bring up before we get started. Number one, D. Vic has been on me for since March Madness has been over. He said he won y'all pool, and he said he gets no congratulations. Yeah, that's what he tells me. Is that true?
The morning hookup one?
Yes.
He didn't win ours, I don't think.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
He seems pretty confident.
Was he in you guys?
No, well, we know our winner from the Average Joe bracket.
I'm gonna go back.
I don't know which one. I think it's the one I think he got in yours, whichever it was, Bill. I'm not sure, but he's been on.
Research. I'll go back and research.
Yeah, go back and research.
I ain't gonna mess with you, Vic. He'll come find me.
Adamant that he won, and he said he didn't even get a pat on the back or congratulations or anything. So I told him I would bring it up.
Why are we always playing for pats on the back?
But the other announcement, though, you're gonna love though. Joe Pete is engaged.
What? Congrats. Look at that man. I've been seeing him on like this worldwide, like American tour lately.
Well, that's where it happened.
He out there posing on Times Square.
Well, that's where it happened.
That's where he did it.
It happened right then, right after that pose.
Nice. Well, congrats, Joe P. I'll have to send him a text.
Yes, he told me it's okay for because I know with myself or anybody else, you kind of keep that. But with social media, golly, every time I get on social media, somebody's proposing, somebody's on their knees, and I'm like, don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. But
don't do it. I think he's giving you 2 advice, by the way.
But no, congratulations to Joe Pete and could you get that clarity? Because after every show, he reminds me, you didn't bring it up. I said, well, just call in, knucklehead.
Yeah, 402-489-1240, D-Vic.
Yeah, he listens. He's listening to it right now, so I'm sure.
He can come sit in a chair with us.
No kidding. But I got to get his butt back to Lincoln every once in a while. He doesn't. I tell you what, his first month away from Lincoln, man, he missed Lincoln so much, and I had to hear it every day. I miss the snow. I miss Lincoln. I miss my neighborhood. I'm like, what? Man, now you can't peel him.
Nobody ever said they miss the snow.
Oh, he said it.
Hey.
Uh-oh. We have another one.
Okay. I don't love cold weather year round. I love Lincoln's weather for the fact that there's always something to enjoy and always something to look forward to. That's what I'll say. In the wintertime, the first snow of the year is nice. I love the holidays of the winter. I love Thanksgiving. I love New Year's. I love Christmas. And I love looking forward to spring weather. And then when spring is here and it's rainy all the time, you're looking for, man, 4th of July is coming up, lake days, that hot weather, that'll be great. And then the hot weather rolls up and you're like, this is terrible. It's humid. Get me to fall football season. Leaves change. It'll be nice and cool. You get
now you're talking my language. You're talking my language. But that winter, come on, man. That brisk wind. I mean, I'm being nice calling it brisk, but that wind.
Hey, ladies, if you're out there swipe right on Elijah Herbal.
Hey, my outfits in the wintertime.
You click that button, right?
Hey, you gotta get layered up. My best outfits are in the wintertime when you gotta get some layers going. I mean, I don't know. I don't hate the cold weather.
It makes the biceps look bigger. Just that a little bit more.
Yeah,
muscular.
He's looking buffed, you know. He's looking buffed,
yeah.
you know, like he's just coming from the gym. I get it, Elijah, but it's nothing you can tell me about that snow and cold that I miss. Heck, I was going up to Flagstaff a year or so ago, watching Northern Arizona play, and I was crying like a baby up there. I do not miss the cold or the snow. It does nothing for me anymore. So I'm good with this 80 degrees right now, and supposed to get back to 100. And I got a big golf match coming up next week with Joe Pete and MG, Morgan Gregory, and one of my best friends, Jeff Knupp. So I got 2 matches now. I got the rematch coming up with you, Bill, whenever we schedule that. And then I got one coming up here in Arizona next weekend. And so looking forward to that. And I changed my swing a little bit, so I'm hitting the ball a little bit further. You may be surprised, and you might be a little intimidated. I'm not hitting it as far as Will, but I'm cranking on it.
Are you hitting it straight? That's the real question.
Yes, I'm hitting it straight. It's in the fairway. One time I hit it so far a week ago, hit it so far we couldn't find my ball. And everybody said, I know it went down this way, and I just happened to keep walking, and it might have had a nice roll, but it was 3+.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't get scared, Bill.
I'm not intimidated. You see the face? This is a gamer. This is a gamer, no matter what.
Yeah.
Oh, Husker legend Henry T. Buchanan hanging out with us. T, I want to ask you probably overall big basketball question. Your Pacers are on a roll. Young man is playing really well after hearing a lot of people talk about how he's the most overrated player. His peers talked about how much of that noise from when you were playing that maybe somebody they said about you or about your team that fueled that fire. You always hear the bulletin board material type conversations.
Yeah.
True or not?
Yeah, it is. And it's funny when you, even in scouting reports before games, and you hear about these players, that you're matching up against, and you look at film and everything, and this might be your first time you've seen these guys playing, and your coaches is telling you their strengths and weaknesses, and you go out there and play up to their strengths and weaknesses, and all of a sudden you see something different, like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me about this, and you're getting cooked out there.
You sort of cook. I didn't know you could use that word. Hey, man, that's what these kids say.
So my philosophy and what I determined and what I decided in playing at that level is that everybody's there for a reason. And this is at the D1 levels, and that's not even counting the NBA level, because you remember Scalabrini, the story about him, that everybody thought he was a scrub, these guys, then they challenged him after he retired, and he cooked them for, one-on-one and gave him everything they want. He basically told him that I am closer to LeBron's talent than you are to my talent. He basically.
Yep.
So in essence, though, you hear that, and it's tough when, why do you even ask that question? It's only 5,000 total NBA players that's ever played that don a uniform, an NBA uniform, and that's the best of the best. Now, is there some players who might have should have been in there that didn't make it? But I consider everybody at that level. I can even talk about my team. I remember Bernard Day last year. We were just talking to him, maybe a couple of years ago, and he talked about playing against me and then with me, because I played against him when I was at Hutch. He was at Mobley. He was playing with Mitch Richmond, and we went at it, and then we played together, and then we started playing college basketball with and against each other. And he just said, I did not realize that you were that good. I'm like, what? So you just, so you never take anybody for granted. And I'm not saying Halliburton is using that few for fire, but I just think the kid is a winner. And he's a baller. And just watching him just throughout the year. And I'm not going to say I watched a lot of Pacers game. I called it from time to time because college basketball takes president, but but he can go, man. And I really enjoyed that game last night. Was epic. I don't if y'all watched it, man. If you didn't watch it, y'all missed. I was by myself and I didn't have nobody to high five, so I ran into the wall almost. I was so excited. That was a pretty exciting finish. That was one of the best finishes that I've ever seen. But go ahead.
Yep. Breaking news coming out right now. We were hoping this would happen. There was a lot of smoke this morning. Breaking news: Nebraska basketball has landed a commitment from a 2025 four-star center Leo Curtis, 7'1" Icelander, is the number 84 player, number 11 center in the 2025 class, according to On3.
Seriously,
7'1".
Awesome. Oh, and we'll take that. And he's a 4-star, so that means he has skills. That means he can play. And he's right off the McDonald All-American, and you never know what type of season he's going to have. Where's he from? This is the first time.
From Iceland.
Oh, okay. Okay. So some players that we're not going to get a chance to see. I mean, how do you rate Europeans? How do you make them 4 or 5 stars when they're not playing? I guess I don't know how that works. So
well, there is we were talking with Robin Wash yesterday about how there's a big disparity in all the recruiting rankings depending on if people know about him. And I do think he spent 1 year playing high school basketball in the United States.
Okay.
So I think he spent 1 year playing high school ball, but On3 has him top 100 player. 24/7 Sports doesn't even have him ranked. So there is actually they have him 4-star. Rivals doesn't even have him ranked. ESPN doesn't have him ranked. There's a disparity in where people have him ranked just based on that fact.
But you can't teach height.
7'1".
Yeah. You can't teach height, and I love hearing that. I even like the recent recruit that we just picked up. Was he from Tulsa? We got the bulk.
Garcia, yeah.
Yep.
Yes, looks like he got a body on him. The banger that we've been looking for, the heir apparent to Gary. So I'm excited about that.
With this news today, you look at it. We talked with Fred a couple weeks ago. He said he was looking for probably 2 more guys. They had 2 more spots if necessary. They got 2 guys now. So you would think this might be it for Husker basketball in terms of their roster construction for 2025, 2026.
And I'm good with it. With what we have so far, we got shooting, we got size at all positions, and we got some returning players, Connor, and you saw what Jacobson done. You got Sam coming back, and you got Jamarcus Russell coming back. You got the freshman, I can't think of the kid's name, from Southwest coming back, and also the Lincoln High kid that is pretty athletic. So with those guys coming back and with the recruits in the transfer portal, we'll be able to compete. Now I still got to see them practice, and because Shu already jumped on me about this drinking the Kool-Aid stuff and things that sort, which I still stand by the Kool-Aid that I drank last year, and we did end up winning our last game and got 21 wins, but I still felt that it was our year to win our first NCAA tournament game, and hopefully this year. But you gotta, before I really start talking about the Huskers, I really got to see how the Big Ten is sized up, and because you don't know what they're recruiting. You can't go by these recruiting rankings and transfer portal rankings and things of that sort. You got to actually see these teams play before you can really size up, the Cornhuskers versus those teams. But I tell you what, I was just talking to a gentleman last week about the transfer portal and how it's devastating high school recruits. So getting this kid from Iceland is just huge. And also our kid Quentin Rhymes out here from Arizona, getting him. And I know Shu mentioned something that Lincoln Journal-Star had some of the potential starters and the top 8-9 players potentially for Nebraska, and I said, you don't have to read that. I mean, if it's not coming out of Coach Hoiberg's mouth, and I'm not paying attention to it, until these kids come together and work out together and play, then you get to see who's going to rise. The cream always rise to the top, and we'll just see what happens.
Also, just a tweet that came out, get you guys' thought on this, as Nebraska is that, they start to fill the schedule out. John Rothstein put a tweet out, and multiple sources are saying Nebraska, they got that game at the Pentagon every year. Oklahoma.
You want to put some butts in seats, that's one way to do it. I mean, you want to bring back an old Big 8 rivalry. I know T knows a thing or two about the Sooners, but holy,
don't get me.
I mean, you want to play a game in the Pentagon. Why not get an old Big 8 rival in town? That's a team that's got some real aspirations for post.
I know it. And payback for the butt whoopers I took from them. Our team took her. That's the only team we couldn't beat in the Big 8. We beat everybody but Oklahoma. We just couldn't get past them. I mean, that's, from the Harvey Grants, the Mookie Blaylocks, and, Stacey Keene, Chu Kennedy. Because I missed the great player, golly, it's slipping my tongue. The big lefty, the jazz artist, the year before me, Tisdale. I missed him by you, but I heard he was a monster. I didn't get a chance. He played for my Pacers, though, got drafted by him. But
he was a monster.
Yeah, I just what I heard. I heard he was unstoppable, and he used to give everybody the business. But my years, we just Harvey Grant and those guys, and Mookie Blaylock, and even my JUCO teammate Tyrone Jones, who was recently here, was on that team, and they were loaded, and they had beat Kansas 3 times that year, and we ended up taking them out, and we ended up taking Kansas out before they went on and win the national championship against Oklahoma. But it's always nice to see an old Big 8 team, and I still root for all the Big 8 teams, and I still talk to some of the former opponents, like the Derek Band-Aid man, the Derek Chivises of the world, and staying in contact with them. Stevie Wise, was a point guard at Colorado back then, and it was nice to stay in contact with some of the guys. And, Todd Christian, who played Okie State, was my teammate in junior college. But yeah, so it's that's nice to hear. And I think, don't we have some other homes in a way coming up too? Well, we got the Iowa 3 times, right? I think that was brought up, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, we got a couple of those. But T, I wanted to ask you this. With Leo Curtis committing, there's already been an Icelandic flavor in Lincoln with some of the previous recruiting classes that Fred has brought in. How much does it help someone to adjust when you've already had somebody go through the program that's from a familiar area or like the same area as you?
I go back with the Coach Nee era. And it's one thing that Coach Nee did is recruit the best talent around Nebraska. And I can go back as far as, the Eric Strickland's crew with Andre Woodbridge and, Terrence Badgett and those guys who was out of Omaha, and then Wes Wilkerson and, we, out of Grand Island. And it seemed like we, Chubbuck, coming from Western Nebraska, and these guys that grew up watching Nebraska and watching, us play and playing against us in the summer and things that sort, and able to get that young talent into the program. And that's, and to me, that's exciting, because I think Creighton recently has did a really good job of picking up some of the best players out of Nebraska. And some of those guys are still sneaking out of here, like Chucky Hepburn and the kid out to Wake Forest. I slipped my tongue. They went to Gonzaga Hunter Salas. They went to Gonzaga and then Wake Forest. Some of them still slips through the crack. And the kid that played for Wake Forest that ended up at Creighton, the big kid, I think he was out of Grand Island as well.
Trout.
Yeah, Trout. Yeah. So, some of them slips through the track, but with this transfer portal, we're just in a whole new era when it comes to recruiting, whether it's at home, locally, or just across the country and in the transfer portal. And the JUCO ranks is getting looked at now. And these high school kids, like I said earlier, that they are going to have to make early decisions. And if the first school that's interested in you, just sign and get it over with, but I do look forward, from a fan base, if these kids can play. And I know Fred is doing his due diligence to recruit these kids. And then from a player standpoint, I didn't really get an opportunity other than Rich Keene, who's out of Omaha. Playing with him, it was always a benefit to us. Playing against the tallest player ever played at Nebraska at 7'2" with skills. And an NBA lottery pick, and so it's just from a player standpoint, you're excited, and then and the fan base, which regardless with Nebraska, their fan base, no matter where you're from, if you can play, they're behind you. And I just talked to Sandman, Broderick Thomas and Brian Washington and some guys just recently, and just listen to them and their memories of playing under Coach Osborne, but everybody talks about the fan base, and everybody loves Nebraska fan base and sports talk. They love the sport, and that's who we need to get on this show is Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
We get Sandman now. We're gonna need the whole 2 hours because I'm telling you, the guy Broderick Thomas, and hope nobody sends his leak to him. He's a talker. You think I'm a talker?
Oh, I've heard all about it from your good boy your good buddy Shoe.
No, but man, he has a lot to say, and he's one of our best defensive players that we've ever had. Behind Sue and some others, but he's one of the best. And but we would love to bring him on. Even Brian Washington's of the world. I still talk to a lot of these football players, and and John Marco. And I know we've had Keith Newbert on before, but and you know who else I got to get on? And I haven't brought this up yet. We got to get Amy Williams on. Because talking about recruiting,
she's doing a nice job right now.
She is selling right now.
Yes,
let me tell you what, she's selling some wonderful
product. I give her a call. If y'all want her on, I try to get her on.
Go.
We could
talk about
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll call her this week and see if I can bring her on next week. Yes, she's getting it done, and it'd be nice to just now. I don't know her. Well, I know her. Don't get me wrong, but I just met her. Really, I knew her back in the day, but didn't really know her. My ex-wife knew her better. Sarah Muller. Knew her better, and I had some conversation last couple of years trying to recruit a friend's daughter for her and of course she ended up going to TCU, that big oil money. So but I've developed a good relationship recently last couple of years with Amy Williams, so I'm gonna give her a call and see if we can get her on next week and just talk about the recruiting and Britt Prince and what she's bringing to the table next year as a leader and what she's done brought, because I love the recruiting that she's brought, and let's bring them all in.
Let's get Amy, let's get Broderick, let's get them all. Let's have
a
party.
I got you. Hey,
let's have a party.
I got you. I'll get them on here and
for sure.
Yeah, but Brad, we're gonna need the whole 2 hours. I'm telling you.
Hey, Husker fans would love that. It's Henry T. Buchanan with us here in the morning hookup, and Amy Williams and Fred both putting in work on the recruiting front. But we talked about the fact that Nebraska is now kind of winding down. Feels like the roster construction is probably done for 2025, 2026. Take us through the summer work that you went through back in your day as a Husker. Has that changed at all for modern basketball players? Like, what does the summer work look like, especially with a team such as this with so many new faces? How do you use the summer to get yourself comfortable and get yourself kickstarted for the season?
Well, our summers is way different than these summers. When you're getting paid $1 million to play at a university, you don't have, or whatever, 700,000, 750, whatever they're getting paid. You don't have to have summer jobs. So we had summer jobs during the summer. And I've told folks this all the time, how I develop a relationship with the community is that all summer I went to any and everywhere, every park, every rec center, every gym that they were playing basketball at. I was there playing basketball. As soon as I got off work, I went and found somewhere to play basketball. And that's the way I kept myself prepared for the upcoming season. And you had to, because our preseason workouts was brutal. We had Randy Goebel and then Brian Bailey as our conditioning coaches, and they used to put us through the ringer, and you always had to be prepared. And so during the summer, and you really worked on your skills, things that you knew that opponents would try to take away from you. You had to build that skill up. And so whether it was, working on my mid-range and working on, or, creating a shot, or just defensively, and learning to continue with the basics of defense. And people don't realize defense is not it's effort, but it's also a skill. Defense you either want it to play or you want to play it or you don't, and just playing pickup ball and when people think they're open and they're not, and just working on those skills it was great for me and my teammates, because Derek, Vic, and I, and EJ and all of my teammates, man, we found basketball across the whole city, whether it was Air Park, you name it, we were there. Southeast in the mornings and Northeast in the mornings, and Irving and middle school, just wherever they were playing, we just played, and we played for the love of the game. Because of the summertime, I've told you this story too, Bill, where we used to fight over the Devaney with Angela Beck, and Danny Nee and Angela Beck would go at it like who gets the court, this day and this time, and we had Maple Lee and some other places that we would play, but we never stopped playing basketball year round. The only time we stopped, and heck, some of us, even when I went back to Indiana, Muncie, I would find some pickup balls. So it's basketball is year round for us. Now with the facilities they have now, I wouldn't have left the university. That gym and the facility has everything you want, but you still want to play against different players. You get tired of playing against each other every day, and so that's how you learn your craft and become better and prepare yourself. Because you can't continue to be good at something if you don't practice. And that's in life in general, whether it's your job, even this radio show here, because every week y'all bring it, and I'm sitting here is like this, like Shu said I talk too much, and I'm like, you just I just said I'm good with that, but I got a lot to share.
Sit back and listen. T, real quick, talk about the peer recruiting side of this, and I feel like the way you talk about, you keep the alumni moving, you keep the brotherhood moving. I'm sure you guys went out and did it, because all reports right now on helping seal the deal were a couple former players, Thor and Kavis. Curtis played against Thor in Iceland. Kavis played. They told him, hey, by the way, Coach Hoiberg's a good coach, and they liked it here.
Oh yeah, that's easy. Anybody that's willing to listen to me, because I'm willing to talk, of course, it's just even meeting Quentin Rhymes' parents out here this past summer, and going out, not this past summer, last summer, and just happened to be there at the AAU tournament and saw Coach Ernie out there, and I went to talk to him and just asked who he was looking at. He was happened to be looking at Quentin Rhymes, and I started watching this kid, and he pointed out the parents. You know me, I never met a stranger, so I go introduce myself to the parents and got to know them, and talked about how impressed I was with the kid, with their son, and he would be a good addition to Nebraska. And I talked about Coach Hoiberg, about his ability to coach and relate to kids, and his NBA prowess as a player and as a coach, and how much his son would benefit playing under his system and under Coach Hoiberg, knowing what it takes to play at that next level, and just having those conversations. And with that in mind, I want all of our alumni, when you get the opportunity, wherever you live in at, because we're living all across the country, if and I know we all pay attention to basketball, whether it's high school at any level or colleges, wherever community you live in at, if you see someone that can flat out play. And I get, remember I got in trouble the other week with E-Dub.
No. Trouble? No.
Yeah. Well, you bring Coach Hoiberg and you put him on the spot and he throws it back at you, man. That was, I kind of felt bad not knowing the rules, but that's another example of alumni looking out for University of Nebraska when there's a potential recruit out there. Let's get that out there to the coaching staff I just chose the wrong avenue to do it with Coach Hoiberg. But that's the name of the game, and we just need more alumni doing that. If you notice some talent out there that you think is going to benefit our program, hey, call me, or call the coach. I'm not the only one that has a relationship with the coach, and then if you don't have a relationship with the coach, get that relationship, because he's very open and receptive to his alumni. So
T, I hate to do it, T. We're up against it, my friend. We went all the way to the end with you. We appreciate you so much, my brother. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me. Y'all take care, fellas.
You guys have a great hump day. Catch you on a Thursday.
Yeah.